Did Nate go SJW like Hunter? Man did a 180 on his beliefs. Sad to literally watch as someone's brain cells die. WTF? Who blue-pilled Nate? Didn't know you were such a lefty. Ben is too soft on the left. What the f*** is this? Just unsubbed. Didn't realize you were a raging SJW. Bye, Nate. Unsubscribed. Stupid video. I think it's time we had a talk. Hello everyone. In my previous upload, we looked at 5 Ben Shapiro fails. 4 of those fails being arguments Ben made, and 1 being his method of reasoning. The reaction to that video was mostly positive, but, as I expected, it also received a noticeable amount of backlash. And not external backlash, like from a response video, Twitter post, or showing up in recommendations. It was coming, in large part, from subscribers of my channel. It's not exactly a secret that many, if not most of my uploads over the past several years have been critical of the left. While I tend to share a wider array of my views on my social media, I've neglected to bring that variety over to my channel. And this has understandably given some people the impression that I must be right-wing. Well, I'm not. While my views have fluctuated over the years, I've always been around the center-left. Are you a Republican or a Democrat? I consider myself an independent, but I'd say the majority of my views tend to be Democratic. Now, I don't want to turn this video into a tedious rundown of what my views are. In the future, I'll do a video taking the political compass test. But fundamentally, my values are this. I strive for a world with less ignorance and more knowledge. A world with less suffering and more happiness. That is ultimately what I care about. And following those values may bring me further left or further right in the future, but currently, the center left is where I'm at. And hey, if that makes me an SJW in your eyes, then so be it. I'm not gonna let name calling dictate what I talk about or what I believe in, because calling me a name doesn't refute anything I've said. It is a non-argument. So how about we look at some comments on my Shapiro video that actually do make arguments. If gays and lesbians were as good as heterosexuals, then why can't they have natural babies? I mean, there must be a reason. Nature does everything for a reason. There must be some fault. All that homosexuals not being able to naturally have children proves is that they can't naturally have children. But this says nothing about their ability to be good parents, which is what this conversation is all about. And as the body of research shows, they're equally good at parenting as straight couples are. This comment commits a logical fallacy called appeal to nature, the argument that because something is natural, it is therefore good. Following this comment's logic, a straight couple that naturally has a child must therefore be good at parenting, which is obviously not always true. Comparing Ben's logic to flat Earth? Comparing Ben having an opinion to scientific method? You lost me, champ. So, to clarify, while Ben Shapiro and flat earthers hold different beliefs, my point was that they both engage in the same bad reasoning. That being to start off with a conclusion and ignore contrary evidence. A flat earther will start with the conclusion that the Earth is actually flat. Yet no matter what evidence you show them that the Earth is spherical, they'll invent a reason for why the evidence is wrong, usually by claiming it was faked by the government. In a similar manner, Ben will start with the conclusion that
God didn't create stupid rules.
One of those rules being that homosexuality is immoral. So despite all the evidence showing that straight and gay couples are equally good at parenting, Ben will continue to believe that straight couples do a better job. So fundamentally, how is their reasoning any different? This isn't merely an opinion like what's the best movie ever made. This is Ben putting his feelings over decades worth of research. Now, am I suggesting that people who believe in a god are incapable of forming rational, scientific conclusions? No. While religiosity can be a hurdle, I think religious people can modify their beliefs in the face of new information. For example, the Bible teaches that humans came into existence from God creating Adam and Eve. And yet there are Christians who believe that humans not only evolved, but evolved naturally. If they can put science before scripture, then why can't Ben too? When it came to the part of my video about American slavery, some people commented that it wasn't the only reason for the Civil War, or not a reason at all. So, to be clear, while slavery wasn't the only motivation, it was the main motivation. Here's a question for you. Why do you think multiple states mention slavery in their secession letters? Why do you think the Constitution of the Confederate States contained a clause guaranteeing the legality of slavery? Why do you think the Vice President of the Confederacy, Alexander Stephens, said, "Our new government is founded upon exactly the opposite idea. Its foundations are laid. Its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race, is his natural and normal condition." But hey, don't take my word for it. How about we ask an expert, like the Civil War historian James McPherson, who wrote that the war started because of arguments over the power of the national government to prohibit slavery. And historian William Freehling wrote that slavery above all else causing the Civil War seems indisputable. Kusoyev Gurgin. Oh, you didn't understand what I said? Sorry, language is always evolving. So this appears to be a tongue-in-cheek response to a comment I made when Ben Shapiro took issue with the non-binary use of they being added to the dictionary. Ben called it
The made-up definition of a word,
which is a weird point to make because every definition is made up. So part of my rebuttal to Ben Shapiro was to point out that language is always evolving. The English of the King James Bible or of Romeo and Juliet is not the English of today. Words and their meanings aren't found in nature. They don't grow on trees, they aren't found in the dirt. They are invented by people. Every word that we now use at one point did not exist. But over time, we create new words, we assign various definitions to them, and if they become popular enough, we add them to the dictionary. Which is exactly what happened with the non-binary use of they. As Merriam-Webster explained in the following article, it met their three criteria: meaningful use, sustained use, and widespread use. Now, if you take issue with their standards, then that's a different conversation you can have. But Merriam-Webster applied the same standards here that they would apply to any other word they add. So why should they treat this one differently? Here's another comment I received about using they-them pronouns, which argued that it makes things confusing. The hypothetical they gave was, Mike and Jill went to see a horror film. But they hate horror films, but they love them, so they decided to go with them. So before I give my solution, here's a question for you. What if these two people both used he/him pronouns, or she/her pronouns? You would run into the exact same dilemma. So this isn't really an issue with they/them pronouns, as much as it is an issue with pronouns in general. If anything, making they/them pronouns more popular as a third option would make this situation less frequent. Because the more pronoun options there are to pick from, the lower the odds are that both people will use the same ones. But if both people do use the same pronouns, just use their name instead. Problem solved. So with all of that being said, I will be going forward with my series on Ben Shapiro. I'll make other videos in between each one, but my next upload will be on Ben. And I imagine continuing this series will lead to more fallout, which I'm fine with. If me challenging people from both the left and the right bothers you, then my channel probably isn't what you're looking for. But if you do like these videos and want to see more, then please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when new uploads come out. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram for regular updates. And last but not least, thank you to my generous patrons on Patreon for supporting this video. Any amount given, big or small, is very much appreciated. Have a great day.